Good morning, everybody. I'm Captain Ben. Welcome to Summer Story Time. All this month, the men and women of the Orange County Fire Authority will be reading you a book every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 o'clock. Today, I get to read you Big Frank's Fire Truck. So, if you're ready, let's get started. All right, it's 9 o'clock Monday morning. Big Frank is just getting to work. Big Frank is a firefighter. He works a 24-hour shift. That means he'll be on duty all day and all night. Just like us here at the Fire Authority, we work a 24-hour shift to serve and protect you here in the community. So as you see, Big Frank is getting to the fire station, saying good morning to everybody. This is the firehouse. This is where Big Frank lives, sleeps, and eats while he's at work. Big Frank checks in and goes over his schedule. At 11 o'clock, he will make a fire department inspection at the supermarket. At 2 o'clock, he will visit the elementary school to talk about fire safety. Big Frank has to be prepared for all kinds of emergency too. Who knows what will happen in the 24-hour shift. Same thing just like us. Big Frank, just like our day is full between inspections. Yes, we do go to the store because we cook our own meals here. We go to elementary schools. We do all kinds of things. We train. So Big Frank and us are no different. So you can see Big Frank's station is very similar to ours. The office, the kitchen, area where everybody meets, his bunk room, and then of course down below, just like a lot of our stations, some stations have a pole and all the apparatus is clean and ready to go. Let's see what's in store next. The fire chief asked Big Frank to fuel up the fire trucks. Big Frank heads for the garage. Big Frank's company has 3 fire trucks. The hook and ladder is used for aerial rescues. The brush breaker has 4-wheel drive and can go where there are no roads. Big Frank drives the pumper engine. The pumper holds up to 1,000 gallons. No different for us here at the Fire Authority. We have fire engines, we have brush rigs, and we have fire trucks. What's the difference? Everybody know? Fire engine has water, the fire truck has ladders. And as you can see over my shoulder, we have one of our brush breakers. We call it a Type 3 rig, which we use to go when we have wildland fires. And yes, it's 4-wheel drive, has 500 gallons, and this is the rig behind me that we use to fight brush fires with. So we're ready to go. So let's see what's in store for Big Frank next. So after he takes care of his rigs, he goes and checks his gear. Very important. Every morning when we come to work, we check all of our gear too, because it's important that all our safety gear is ready to go every day, so we're ready to go. So he checks his helmet, his fireproof jacket, he checks his boots, he's got a wedge to prop doors open, he has an oxygen pack that he puts on if it's very smoky, and Big Frank has equipment next to the pumper ready to go. So he is ready for anything. So you can see Big Frank is checking all his gear, checked his backpack, his air pack, everything to go. So he's ready for his day. He's got all his equipment just like we do here. We check our rigs, we check our equipment. We're ready to go for the full 24 hours. So Big Frank sits down with his partner, drinks a cup of coffee. Just then the fire bell rings. At the same time, the lights in front of the station start flashing and the computer starts printing. Accident at the intersection of Main Street and Lowell Road, car on fire. So they're all getting ready. So a lot of things going on. Let's see how they get there and what happens. So Mike, Janet, Gary jump into the pumper with Big Frank. Big Frank turns on the siren and heads out of the station. So remember, when you see a fire truck, an ambulance, a police car, what's important to do? Pull to the right. Remind your mom and dad when you're sitting in the back seat, front seat, whatever you are, and you have your seatbelt on, remember, tell mom and dad, pull to the right and stop, let them go by. So there goes Big Frank. The big fire truck roars down Main Street with the siren full blast. Cars pull over, see? They're pulling over. Important thing to do. They hear the noise and the policeman waves them through. The engine goes through a red light. The firefighters arrive at the scene. The accident they're there in less than 4 minutes. Just like us, we get dressed when the tones go off. We're out of the station immediately to get to you as quick as possible. So you can see they're at the accident now. First thing Big Frank does is to check to see if anyone was hurt. He is glad he has paramedic training. A lady has a bad cut on her head. Big Frank bandages the cut and makes radio for an ambulance. Meanwhile, Gary and Janet spray the burning car with a special foam made for gasoline fires. The flames go out and the tow truck comes and hauls the wreckage away. So again, you see the capability of just like us here in the Fire Authority. We have paramedics on our engines and trucks. We have the ability to put foam on the fire to make sure it doesn't spread. Radio communications, we call for an ambulance. So again, no different what Big Frank does, same thing we do here to serve and protect you guys. So let's go on next. After the call's done, Big Frank returns to the station with the others. fills out his report. He looks at his watch. It's nearly 11 o'clock. He drives over to Kiwi Shop to make his inspections. Big Frank inspects the store sprinkler system to make sure it's working properly. He checks the emergency doors to see if they will open in case of a fire. He also runs a test of the alarm system. The supermarket has a smoke alarm that rings right in the fire station. Everything looks okay. And that's what we do. We go to either a store or any type of business to make sure that everything works properly, they have an extinguisher, etc. That's important. Do you guys have an extinguisher at home? Ask mom and dad if you do and where it's at. Okay, that's important. Always have a good working fire extinguisher at home. So they return back to the fire station. Big Frank eats lunch with the others. Then he takes a quick little nap, which is okay. Sometimes we do too here when we get a little break because we're here for 24 hours. We need a little rest, so that's good. So next thing you know, here we go. At 2 o'clock, Big Frank and Mike drive the engine over to Nice View Elementary School. Big Frank and Mike talk to the second grade class about fire safety. Mike tells them about smoke detectors are very important. He shows them how to check their smoke detectors at home. Do you guys know how to check your smoke detector at home? Ask mom and dad. See how many you have and make sure that the battery is good, okay? If it's not, change it. And if it is, remember, once a year, change the smoke detector battery. Very important. We need smoke detectors. Make sure mom and dad have them in their house, okay? Then Frank teaches the kids what to do in case of a house fire. He tells them to stay low so they won't breathe too much smoke. Then he shows them how to stop, drop, and roll, okay? Does everybody know what that is, stop, drop, and roll? If for some reason your clothes are on fire, you stop right where you're at, you drop, and you roll until the fire goes out. Keep rolling back and forth or whatever you need to do until the fire goes out, okay? That's important. And also we talked about if there is a fire in your house to stay low because the smoke generally rises, and if you stay low, you can breathe and crawl out. And make sure that you have a plan. If there is a fire in your house, where you meet your mom and dad and all your family comes together. Make a designated area, talk to mom and dad, see if you have a plan, okay? Very important for us. On the way back, a call comes in over the radio. Brush fire at Drury Hill. Big Frank turns the pumper around, heads for Drury Hill. He and Mike will meet the rest of the company there. Big Frank is worried. There hasn't been rain for a long time and the wind is blowing. This could be a bad fire. So you see him, they're getting the radio traffic. He's turning the rig around. He's on his way to the brush fire. Let's see what happens here. Big Mike and Frank, they reach the fire a little after 4 o'clock. They go right to work. They spray the water around the edge of the blaze to keep it from spreading. The wind blows and sparks fly through the air. When the rest of the companies arrive, the fire chief tells Janet and Gary to hose down the roofs of the nearby houses. This will help the spread of the fire from going any further. Okay, so you can see here, they've got the engine, they've got the truck, they've got the water on the fire, they're putting it on the house up here. That's very important. They're doing a great job containing the fire so it doesn't spread. That's what we do. We get there quick and we prevent it from spreading. At nightfall, the wind picks up. Suddenly, the fire goes out of control and it races toward the forest. The fire is too big for the companies to handle alone. Frank radios for help. 2 more companies are on their way. So the wind kind of pushed it away. So now we've got the brush rigs, just like what I've got over my shoulder, our brush rig. As you can see, it's going to 4-wheel out there and get to the fire. We're going to contain this fire and stop it just like Big Frank is, okay? So let's see what happens next. Big Frank knows all the firefighters in the companies. He's worked with them many times. Together they make a good team. By midnight, they have saved the nearby houses from catching fire. They have headed off the blaze to the north, to the south, and to the east, but the fire is spreading to the west through the trees. Even the brush breakers can't get up there. Big Frank calls for a squad of special firefighting helicopters. Soon they sure show up. Just like this. Yep, even though we have 4-wheel drive and we can get up pretty far, our crews walk the side of the hills like they are here. We also, too, here in the Fire Authority, have helicopters. They have the ability to pick up water and drop it on the fire to stop the spread. So we here, just like Frank's department, have a lot of tools to stop the spread of fire. So let's see what goes on next. The firefighters battle the blaze from the ground. The helicopters drop the chemicals from the air. Finally, after 14 hours, the fire begins to die out. The worst is over. So you can see Frank and his crew has been there for a long time, but they're doing a great job. They're working with the helicopters, the brush breakers, everybody to contain the fire. They did a great job. Big Frank is tired, no wonder. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. As soon as the next shift of firefighters arrive, Big Frank and his company will head back because they're almost done their 24 hours. So He's worked pretty hard, so let's see what happens next. So Big Frank gets back to the station. He helps wash the trucks from all the soot and the fire. Big Frank is dirty too. He has ashes all over them, even in his hair. So he jumps in the shower, he puts on clean clothes, eats a big breakfast, and takes care of the apparatus before he goes home. It's important. We need to stay clean, just like we need to keep our rigs clean. So he's taking care of the apparatus, got the hose ready to go for the next call. That's what we do here, just like Big Frank's department. Okay, it's 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning. Big Frank's shift is over. Big Frank waves goodbye to everybody as the other firefighters arrive. He can't wait to get home to hug Amber and little Frank. There he is. Big Frank is on his way home. Big Frank will have 2 days off, which he'll spend with the family. Then he'll start another shift, firefighting, and helping everybody's family to stay safe. Just like I do, I work the 24-hour shift. I go home to my family. I'm very excited to see them. And we're excited to be here to take care of you. So thank you for allowing me to be here to read Big Frank's fire truck. Remember, summer story times every Tuesday and Thursday for the month of June. Join us.